Everyone, this is Bombastic Slacks. Just going to do a quick recorded video today to talk about. I keep almost doing a full explanation of how to add an enchantment on stream, and coming short for whatever reason. So I decided that I'm going to actually chop up a full video explaining how to fully implement an enchantment, which means it's something that can be used in any JSON item or mutation or whatever in Cataclysm. What I'm going to be implementing today, as an example, is a force field enchantment. So basically, it's going to be a percent chance to just ignore any harm directed at your character. And potentially in the future, someone could add like different damage type variants of this. But for now, this will just be a percent chance to completely avoid damage. And the reason I'm going to do this is for the perks mod. I'm going to add like I think it's called Uncanny Dodge. So that style of thing where you just have a percent chance to not get hit by bullets, or melee attacks or whatever, any incoming damage. And so, yeah, I'm gonna do a full explanation of how to do that right now. So the first thing you want to do when you're trying to add an enchantment to the game is I already have my stuff up here. So in Magic Enchantment, there's a pile of these enchantments already. And so there's a couple of spots that you need to add some stuff for them. And so there's this enum class up here, which is where you start. And then there's a couple of other bits as well, where you just need to add that infrastructure. And I'm lazy, and I don't like to remember stuff. And so what I always do is I just take one of these. Let's do fall damage. I Control F it. Or Control Shift F. So I search the whole project. And so I can see that there are 3 instances where this is referred to. And so I'm just going to duplicate, basically, that. Is force field 1 or 2 words? Well, it looks like it's 1. So I'm going to add force field to this enum. That makes sense. And then I also need to add it to this this case right here. And this is what this is like a thing for basically so that the game knows that force field in the JSON is related to force field in the C++ code, if that makes sense. And then the only other instance of fall damage being referenced is actually where it's called. And so that's the next thing I need to do. I need to figure out where force field is actually going to be called in the code. And so to do that, I need to try and find a place where people take damage. And so this might actually take me a minute. And so I might chop this if it takes me a little while fumbling, but I will see, because I think armor absorb. Yeah, it's probably absorb damage here. Or it's where this gets called. Curious. Let's see. Yeah, this is absorb hit. Perfect. Okay, cool. And so again, this is really the only technical part of adding an enchantment, is kind of finding where it should actually be, kind of like pulled in and determined. And so what I want to do is yeah, so that's the bionic ADS stuff. That's kind of cool, but we want to just have a full catch-all. It doesn't really matter what kind of damage it is. So up here, I'm just going to add So I'm gonna just make a note here so that I'll be able to see where the error is and come back to this file when I check it in a sec. Oh, this should be saved. Because I want to just steal the fall damage stuff here. Because this is the where the code will be. And so I want modify value. I forget which one that is. Yes, I do. And so I'm just going to put it as that. And so, what enchantment cast? Enchantment cast is just your collection of all the enchantments on your character from whatever instances. Modify value, if I recall, is it just takes it tries to get the modifier that you want, and it just modifies the number you pass it by that total, and so it just like adds in that it does all your additive multipliers, or sorry, it does all your additives on the enchantment value, and then it does all the multipliers on it in that order, and so that's perfect for what we want. And you're starting with a flat value of 0% chance to dodge at all times. And so from here, I'm just going to do a if there's a way to roll a D100. I need to remember what it is. It gets done in here, I think. So I can just, yeah, it's just RNG. Okay. So if that is less than our force field chance, which we just got up here, and we'll do times 100 because we want to do because force field's going to be from 0.0 to 1.0, and so we'll multiply it by 100, and then we'll check that if our RNG is less than our force field chance, we're just going to return null. And because that's what happens at the end of this afterwards. And so yeah, and so we just want to skip all this stuff. There's nothing in here that it's important if we miss. And again, like I said, this is the hard part, is just like finding where to kind of inject those enchantments so that they function correctly. But this looks like it should work, and so I'm gonna pause the recording and I'm gonna compile, and then we'll add the JSON to test it. Just kidding. I had to stop mid-compile because there's a couple of issues here that are all just like minor things you would notice in testing anyways, but I didn't actually swap to specify that we're trying to get the force field enchantment. And also, this RNG needs to go from 0 to 99. Because we'd want it to be that if you had a 1.0 for force field, meaning you avoided all damage all the time, that, you know, because 100 isn't less than 100. So I just had to shift that down 1, and that's just dumb math by me. But yeah, back to compiling. All right, while I was away, I had one more thought, which is that there probably should be a message to let you know that you successfully avoided the attack. So I've added that. Oh, so I realized I made a mistake here, and so basically what I need to do is, instead of returning a null pointer here, what I actually need to do is I'm going to add a for edge mitigated. That'll equal false by default, and so if this happens, so we'll set damage mitigated equals true here if we get our force field roll, and then we're going to go through every type of damage, and we've got to actually reduce reduce it by a bunch. So basically what I need to do is go to element not equals 0, but only if we are on damage mitigated. And I believe that works. Yeah, that seems right. And so basically it's if we've mitigated the damage, set everything to 0, and then we'll actually do this early return so we won't rip up armor or anything. Cool, and so I just have to compile again. And now it's just JSON work to be done. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to document this. It's important for other modders that these things be visible and available. And so I'm going to just go, these are alphabetized, and so it's force field. So here, I'm going to just punch that in. Yeah, and so now anyone who wants to use this will be able to easily do it as well. I guess, so at this point I am done as far as I know, but I am going to need to test this. It's important you test these kinds of things. And so I'm going to just add a perk. I'm not going to do the whole thing here, but I am going to add just a simple a trait basically to the perks mod that will have let me test this out. And I'm not going to add again everything required to get this working in the perks mod, but just enough to test it out. I'm not gonna give it a description, but I am going to go force field, and I'm gonna put it at 1.0 right now, just because I'm curious. I want to test. So, and then start up the game. All right, so here I am in game. I've got a zombie in front of me, a zombie dog. I've given myself the uncanny dodge perk that I've implemented, and I'm just going to pass time and see that even though I'm naked, I'm taking 0 damage, and the ability is leaving me miraculously unharmed, so it is triggering. So that's perfect. It's exactly what I want. And so in the description below, you'll be able to see, I'm going to link the PR related to this, which will have this perk, and I'm also going, we'll have the JSON to add these to the perk mod, and I'm also going to add one additional enchantment, which will be a flat % chance to dodge, and there'll be this one as well, and you'll be able to see all of the code for that down there. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to somebody out there, and we'll see some more enchantments getting added to the game. Thanks.